So then I think we got to ask, so was there other things that kind of kept other things besides this arson around that period of time?
Not in Texas, no. Nope.
Now on that, you were in Texas. Where did you, after this arson, where did you go to the bank robbery?
Yeah.
And then?
After I hit the bank, I stopped and got gas and waited for the cops to show up. And once I saw them all go by to the bank, then I went back out on the freeway and headed back towards Dallas.
And so you said not in Texas. Is there something somewhere else between the beginning of February and the 16th?
You mean on when I was?
On that trip,
well, this
yeah.
was
when you were kind of on that.
That high that you were talking about.
Yeah. No, I was. Before that, I had gone down. I was gone for a couple days, like 2 or 3 days. And Lainey was staying with my mom in Dallas, and I don't know, I just got tired of the people there talking to me and stuff, so I just decided to get in my car and think of some excuse to go south and just drive around. And so that's what I was doing the whole time.
Where'd you go?
Would have been, I think it was like the 13th and the 14th. I went down, it was further south.
Further south than Dallas or Houston?
No, it was further south from where I ended up going to this bank. There were some banks and stuff that I was looking at. Stephenville was one of them.
You were looking at banks in Stephenville?
Yeah, I never actually went there because I found a bunch of other good ones on the way there. But
what's a good one? How do you pick a bank?
Well, usually I would pull it up on the computer. I mean, I did all this before I even went to Texas. When I was in Alaska, I pull up a town, usually a small town out of the way with 3 or 4 different routes out of it, and type in banks, see how many banks are in the town, where they are, and then type in police and see what the closest police station is, and that's how I pick them.
You look for a police station far away?
Just so I know what direction they'll be coming from. Not really. Yeah, I mean, ideally not right next door. There were some that I was looking at further south from there where the towns were so small that the police station was basically like right next to the bank. So I decided to scrap that plan.
So when you left on the 12th or 13th, when you left Laney at your mom's, is that you're out looking for a bank? Is that what you did for 3
or a house
or a house?
Yeah. No, I don't know what I was I was just looking to do something. I was kind of out of control a little bit.
Since it was related, to that trip with the couriers, should these guys be looking for other criminal activity during that time period?
No.
You're not just saying that to me.
No.
I can't see you not looking at me. I can't tell. You usually look at me, Israel.
That's one of the things, too. That's why I was asking, going back to the Texas trip.
These guys are asking you details. I'm just going to ask you straight. Look at me, tell me if they should be looking for anything.
You didn't go to any place other than Texas, the February trip, the February when you went on your cruise. So Houston, New Orleans, back to Dallas, and then you were just south down in Azelle and Stephenville.
Yeah.
Well, you can tell me you don't want to answer me. I mean, that's better than telling me. That's all I'm asking. You could say, I don't want to answer you.
Because I know how many miles you put on that car. That's what I'm...
Probably a lot, right?
There's a lot of miles on that car. So that's the task that we're doing right now is looking at all the credit cards and then bank statements and everything, trying to piece that trip together. So that's why I'm just trying to get those days down and lots of miles on the car.
Yeah.
Like driving around Texas, you could have done circles around Texas.
You didn't drive back to
that
Alaska,
goes
did
for
you?
every single car I ever rent. It's unlimited miles. They say that for a reason. They want you to drive a long way.
You're the guy that's going to ruin that for everybody else.
I probably have in Texas at this point.
They don't allow that
Money's
anymore.
worth on that car.
That car was, man, that thing, yeah, that was one of those. By the time I was done driving around all those back roads in Texas, that car was noticeably damaged. It didn't even drive the same.
Well, wait a second. When I go to rent a car, they make me walk around it and look for all the dings and stuff. You know?
That car was...
It was a little dirty, I understand.
Yeah.
Well,
That car was so okay. That was after I took it. I took it to a gas station. I don't remember where, but yeah, I took it to a gas station, and they had a hose out back. And by the time I pulled out of that paved area where I tried to hose it off, you couldn't even see the pavement anymore. It was just red mud everywhere. Anyway,
so that was going back to you had referenced grand plan a couple times. Is that something different than what we're talking about? Or am I
grand plan with what? With the
with the
gun?
silencer or with the gun? Or?
Well, I mean, I've always had guns, but if you have one that doesn't make any noise, that makes it that much better. I never had any interest in using guns for most things that I would do, but yeah, with the once I had perfected that silencer, that kind of became a part of it, that I was thinking about doing some stuff with it, just because it would have been so easy. But no, I wasn't. The gun was just some. I mean, you know, I've got guns all over the place. So. For the most part, they're just tools that I use. That's pretty much how I would look at them. But that one was different. That one I was determined to do something big with. Couriers, that was wasn't really intending on using it there at all, but kind of lost my cool for a few minutes.
What happened that caused you to use the gun if you didn't plan to use it?
Oh, it's just the guy wasn't cooperating, so. There had been a couple other things that night that went wrong and kind of stressed me out a little bit. But I mean, I had the situation back under control, but then yeah, he just got to the point where it was like, no matter what I said or did, it seemed like he wasn't taking me seriously anymore. And some people you can't really tell how they're going to react until they get pushed to a certain point, and then there's like a different person that comes out, and that's kind of what happened with him, I think. I think he realized that things had gone to a certain point where he had to take a different tactic with me and dealing with me. And whereas up until that point he had been like trying to talk me out of it or something, and yeah. So then when things got physical,
that pissed me off because there's like there's always the specific way I wanted things done, very specific way I want things to happen, and I have the whole thing planned out. I have everything I need to do it, and so when somebody messes up that plan, and it kind of even surprised even me that I lost control that way, because there were any number of ways I could have dealt with the situation, but. Yeah, I had the gun upstairs, and he was down in the basement, and tried a few other things to get him under control. It's not like he was going to beat me in a fight or something, but he just was still really belligerent and stuff even after I had him beat, and it pissed me off, and went and got the gun.
You told us the other day that you could tell, because you knew you didn't want to get caught. How would you identify a victim so that you would, try to decrease the chances that you would be caught?
Well, back when I was smart, I would do it. I would let them come to me.
I don't understand.
Just remote area, not.
Kind of
you
like
go to a remote area that's not anywhere near where you live, but that other people go to as well. You might not get exactly what there's not as much to choose from in a manner of speaking, but there's also no witnesses really. There's nobody else around, so. And then when they disappear, a lot of times nobody's really surprised because it happens all the time.
See, that's the part I'm trying to...
Marathon runner.
The Mount Marathon guy?
But what I'm trying to figure out, but if somebody's camping in a remote spot, someone's going to know that they didn't come home.
Right.
So did you have other things you looked for in a victim?
No, it was, it's just... You asking what type of people I would pick, or?
Yeah, what type, or whether there was a
I
way...
didn't really have a type.
Okay.
I had preference, but that it wasn't...
What's the preference?
Well... lightweight.
Is that because of attraction or because of disposal?
Yeah, it's kind of makes it easier.
Okay.
But, it's not. It's not a deal breaker.
So on one instance where you killed somebody, it appeared in the news as if it were an accident. So that's got to be kind of empowering.
Right. I never took that for granted, though. Because I've known for a long time, because of the things that I've done that have been in the news, I've known that, like, what you read that happened and what I know that actually happened, sometimes it's almost not even recognizable, really. So I never took it for granted. I always assumed that if a body was found that somebody was going to be after me for it. I was always prepared for that, and I always thought I had alibis and stuff. Like, that was always in the back of my mind. Kind of hard to keep track of after a while, but,
But you anticipated if they found the body, here's what my story is going to be.
Right.
Were there any close calls where they found a body and you were prepared for that?
Well, like I say, I don't know if it was a close call. I don't know. I know that. I know that what was made public, it never seemed like it was close to me.
But the body recovered, and you were worried they were going to come and ask questions about it.
Yeah.
Was that only one time?
Yeah.
Did you consider that a mistake on your part somehow,
No.
that the body was recovered?
Well, I don't.
Back then.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a mistake. I mean,
What happened? Were you rushed? Did you not do something the way you planned?
no, I was. It was kind of the same situation as the couriers. I just wasn't in a position to get rid of it right away, and so I decided to try and make it look. I mean, it was already going to be assumed that it was an accident and of some sort, and my concern was that the body would be found before it had decomposed enough. But
How long ago was that?
that was a while ago.
But the body. So wait, I don't get that. Your concern was the body wouldn't have been decomposed enough. That makes it sound like you went back, or.
No, I'm just saying if it had been found right away, it probably wouldn't have been thought to be an accident anymore.
Oh, okay. I read a story once about an elderly couple that, but I think it was like an arson or something like that, where, to like try to cover up the bodies. Is that the kind of thing you're talking about?
Not specifically, but no, I know what you're saying.
How many houses would you say you broke into total?
Starting when? Ever?
Yeah.
I don't know. At least 20 or 30.
But people not home.
Not usually, no.
But you have,
Never with that intent.
so you have broken into houses with people home, other than the couriers?
Yeah.
Just a burglary.
But it was more of like, no. The one time that happened, I don't even think I took anything. But it was.
Did you leave?
Did you wake them up?
No. No.
You found out they were home.
It was. I don't make a very good cat burglar. I'm too big of a guy. Floorboards creak too much. But it was more of a. No, I was thinking about doing something else. Obviously when I broke in, I knew there was someone there. I was thinking about other things, but situation wasn't right, and it wasn't as appealing, I guess, once I got inside.
So you just
What?
left.
Why? What would you see that you didn't like? Too big? That's one thing that you, but I mean, that was one of your criteria before. So, got in there, 300-pounder, or
So how many banks?
I haven't really done that many banks. Until the FBI to stand down.